Hi, Gayla.
Yeah.
All right, we got you. Fabulous. I was worried we weren't going to get through, but we want to do an official introduction before we get started. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very excited to welcome our next guest this evening. You know her as the adorable little girl who originally sang I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas, and we're very excited to welcome Gayla Peevey to the show. You're on the air with Terry and Tiffany. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Nice to be with you.
It's so great to have you here. I just want to find out one question. What did you get? What did you get for Christmas?
Well, this year it was not a hippopotamus.
Uh-huh. Well, I hope you got everything you wanted.
I did get a live hippopotamus when I was 10, when I released that record, but that was a long time ago.
Wow. So how does one get a hippopotamus?
Well, you know, the song was just the big Christmas hit of 1953, and at the time I lived in Oklahoma City, and the newspaper and the head of the Oklahoma City Zoo thought it would be really great, since I kept begging for a hippopotamus, if they had a campaign and kids could send in their nickels and dimes from all over the state and raise money to buy me a live hippopotamus. Well, sure enough, by Christmas Eve of 1953, enough money had been raised, and they flew in Matilda, a live Nile hippo, and presented. I know it sounds crazy, but it was a huge media event.
Wow!
And oh yeah, it was a big thing, and they presented Matilda to me, and of course, I couldn't keep her at our house. Mother wouldn't allow that, you know. So I donated her to the Oklahoma City Zoo, and she lived happily there for about 45 years and had 9 babies.
Wow.
Yeah, which some of them are, I think, still out in zoos, and they've probably had babies, and so she's left quite a legacy.
Well, you know, if I would have known at the time you could buy a hippo, I guess you guys raised $3,000, but in today's money, it would be $27,552.
Yes, it would cost a lot more today.
So before
back then, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, before you donated it to the zoo, did they literally bring it to your house? No, they presented her to me at the airport. They flew her in, and we all went to the airport and met her, and they brought her out from the airplane in a crate, and they put me on top of the crate with Matilda in it and took pictures and, you know, did a ceremony and everything to present her. And so she never actually made it to our house, no. Oh. Well, it's a good thing you were a baby hippo, because you sang so sweet. She might have wanted to eat you up. Because
I know, they're not exactly tame creatures.
Wow. You know, the other host...
She was a young hippo, and even still, she was huge. They're very large animals.
You know, you've really been blessed, because... Okay, when I first saw the video on the Ed Sullivan Show, of course I've known about you for years, but I never really saw the video before. You come out, and you're this pretty, precious little girl. You really had a voice that was more an adult voice that just rang out. And you reminded my mother a lot of another singer called Teresa Brewer.
Oh, yes, I remember her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did sound a little bit similar. Mm-hmm.
And to this day, the other host, who's my daughter here, came in. And we won't tell your real age unless you want to, but she said you sound like you're 20 years old.
You do.
Oh, you mean now?
Yes.
Oh, wow, thank you. Well, you know what? I still sing and write songs, and honestly, it shocks me that I'm as old as I am. I can't believe it.
I feel young, and I'm, knock on wood, still very healthy and going strong.
Well, that's great. I wanted to ask you, Gayla, let's kind of start out, because everybody knows the song, but a lot of people may not know how the song came to be. And I mean, you started out singing as a preschooler in Baptist church, right?
Yes, I did. We lived in Ponca City, Oklahoma at the time. And I started singing when I was just a little kid, all around town in church for, the various, events, the watermelon feast, the kolache festival, the big stuff
right.
like that. But mostly church. And then I started singing on the radio in Oklahoma City, and then I started singing twice a week on television there. That's why we had to move to Oklahoma City. And I started singing regularly on television at the age of 8.
And that was on the Saturday Night Review with Hoagie Carmichael, right?
That was a little bit later. I was on local television for, in Oklahoma City, and then got the Hoagie Carmichael show. By that time, I think I was 10. And then right after that, I got the recording contract with Columbia Records, and the very first song they brought to me to sing, to record, was I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. And the other song, the flip side of Hippo, is Are My Ears on Straight? Really cute little song.
It is.
So they flew my mother and I to New York, recorded it. Mitch Miller was the producer. And, of course, then they had the full orchestra. You sang live with the orchestra, none of the fancy gimmicks that they have now. You just stood there and belted it out and sang it.
Well, you can.
But it was very fun. Mitch Miller, you remember the guy with the beard?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he knew I was a little kid, so he made it really fun, and he would dance around and all of that. So then it was released, and we introduced it on the Ed Sullivan Show. So.
Now, looking back, I don't imagine at 10 years old you had an idea how important Ed Sullivan was?
Well, I probably didn't really grasp, the magnitude of his fame and all of that. I just thought he was a really nice man. He had actually come to Oklahoma City and put on a great big live show, variety show, and I was on that as well. Mm-hmm. And so I got to be with him a second time. And, he's just a really nice man. And, of course, I knew that he had a big television show. We watched it regularly ourselves. So I knew that. But, I probably, as a kid, didn't really grasp how big he was.
Now, I was watching your Ed Sullivan appearance, and I saw you got done, with the song, and you had a bunch of other kids around you, and you walked down the steps, and I think you were walking a little too fast. I could tell somebody off stage was telling you to slow down. And then you got over to Ed. And then you got over to Ed, and you did something very special at the end, and you gave Ed a kiss on the cheek. Was that something that they had told you ahead of time to do, or did you just do it, or?
No, I didn't just do it on my own. My manager at the time thought that would be kind of cute. And looking back at it, I wish I had waited a little bit longer to do the kiss, because he was still kind of interviewing me, and, could have gone on for a little bit longer talking. But I was told, wouldn't it be cute for you to do this and, have him bend over and give him a kiss, and I just couldn't wait to do that, so I rushed it a little bit.
Oh, be easy on yourself, Gayla. You were only 10. Well,
yeah, right.
So Ed didn't know you were going to kiss him, though. I mean, he acted surprised. Is that right?
Oh, he was surprised. Yeah, for him, he was surprised. He didn't know that was going to happen. So
I believe his comment was that happens all the time, and they're either too young or too old.
Yeah, he was very witty. He could think fast on his feet. I think that's why he was so popular. Even though he, wasn't really that much of a personality, he was very clever, and I thought that was a cute little quip that he came back with.
Yeah, all these impersonators that do Ed, they always act like Ed never smiled or never laughed, and he did.
Yeah, he did. He really was. He, like I said, he was just a very friendly, kind person.
So here you are, 10 years old, on the Ed Sullivan Show, a show that introduced the Beatles to the United States. No big deal, okay? I mean, how did that affect you afterwards? I know it made your record #1.
Yeah, it definitely, if you're going to kick off a record, that's the place to do it in the 50s. So that was good. It was kind of an interesting backstory to that. I had been on the Hoagie Carmichael Saturday Night Review on NBC, and they wanted to, they were going to sign me as a, contract NBC person to continue on regularly on NBC. But in order to do the Ed Sullivan Show, which was on CBS, back then, I couldn't be under contract to NBC and do the Ed Sullivan Show because it was a different network. So my manager killed the NBC contract so I could do the Ed Sullivan Show. That's how important the Ed Sullivan Show was.
Wow.
Good choice. Good choice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So after I Want a Hippopotamus, I mean, what was it like? I know that you did some other albums, you did some other songs, including some duets with Jimmy Boyd. But you didn't keep singing for your entire life. You actually stopped at one point to go to school, right?
I did. Back then, television was new. It's hard to believe it, but it was. And in Oklahoma, where I lived, and I was on television regularly there, and then after the hit record, my goodness, I couldn't go to public school, and there weren't really any good private schools. It was very hard to be out in public, and as a kid, it was just, you couldn't live a normal life. It was just, I was just followed around. Kids were climbing up in the trees, and, it was just impossible. And my parents were really not showbiz type people at all. They were wonderful church-going people, and they were so out of their element. They just didn't quite know how to handle it. So they just made the decision to take me out of show business, move far away, and let me live just a normal life and go to school. And so that's exactly what happened. And I have some regrets, but not really. My, life has been very happy, normal. I still sing at church and write songs. So, it didn't continue because my parents chose to have me be normal.
I see that things are so different, because back in the day it was cute and it was sweet. Nowadays, if you'd have been making these appearances or doing songs with Jimmy Boyd, there'd be like, there's a mad romance going on. They're dating behind dating behind your parents' backs and everything. Was there ever any kind of an attraction
to Jimmy Boyd? Well, we were just kids, and he was I think he was like 2 years older than me, so there really wasn't any sparks of any kind. It was just a friendship, and he was just a nice kid, real freckle-faced country boy, and I came from country farm people, so we had a lot in common. And his parents were just lovely people. They got to be good friends with my parents.
Well, you definitely have a lot of values.
Now, wait, you asked about Jimmy Boyd, but what about when you were singing with Ray Conniff?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? When I was a teenager, that was 14. Yeah, that was when I was 14. I recorded a couple of songs with Ray Conniff.
Now, wait, was that you, Gayla, or was that the singer I heard of by the name of Jamie Horton? I don't know who she is, but
that came later.
Okay.
My contract with Columbia it was 5 years, so I was still recording as Gayla Peevey on Columbia, and I recorded with Ray Conniff and sang a few songs that were a little bit more mature. I'm too young to have a broken heart, and that's what I learned in school. Some of those things were with Ray Conniff. Then, that's when my folks took me out of show business around junior high.
But then I got a guitar for Christmas when I was 16, learned how to play the guitar, and started writing songs. And ended up sending them off to New York and got another recording contract with Joy Records and recorded a few kind of, 50s style rock songs, some of them that I wrote. And even a couple, 2 or 3 of them charted. No big hits like the Hippo song, but I was on the Dick Clark show a number of times, American Bandstand, and all those what did they call them, sock hop shows, where you'd go around and promote your records, and met a lot of the rock stars at that time, Frankie Avalon, and oh gosh, Fabian, and all that whole era of singers I got to be on with, and so it was kind of fun, but nothing really huge happened. And then I finished school, met Cliff, we got married, and that was kind of that.
That I want to bring up.
I have to say that for somebody who was meeting people like Frankie Avalon and Fabian, I think it speaks not only to how you were raised, but the type of person that you are, that Gayla has been married to her husband Cliff for 48 years.
Really?
I have to make a correction, because the information that you probably got that from was not updated. It's actually 51.
Wow.
God bless you guys. Wow.
I know. I can't believe it. It's like, whoa, what happened?
So how do you stay together that long? Do you sing "I Want a Hippopotamus" to him every night, or what?
Oh gosh, he is a retired school teacher, and he loves to hear me sing, and he's but he's not musical at all. But he certainly enjoys the fact that I am, and loves to hear me sing. We just we're so unlike each other that I think it works.
How'd you guys meet?
Actually, we were introduced by a friend who thought the person that introduced us was Renwick Silas Calderhead Jr. Now, how could you forget that name? That's a wild name. And he knew Cliff, and he knew me, and he thought, those two need to get together because they both love to go to church. Cliff's a church guy, and he, loves music. And so he just arranged for us to meet, and we hit it off, and 51 years later, here we are.
At what point did he become aware of your songs, or did he know?
You know what? I never really talked about that. There are so many people in my little circle of friends who, until the Hippo song kind of had a rebirth about 15 years ago, never even knew that I was the one who sang the Hippo song. Now, he knew because we talked, when we were dating, but I don't think he was that familiar with pop music and the 50s song. It didn't seem to impress him very much.
Well, maybe that's the secret to the good marriage.
Yeah.
Now, I had kind of mentioned the Jamie Horton thing earlier, and for our listeners that don't know, when you were recording, kind of when you went back with Joy, you were recording under the name Jamie Horton.
Yes, and actually that was my manager's idea, to change my name from my real name, which was Gayla Peevey, to Jamie Horton, and that really was not a good move. I didn't want to do it, but I thought, well, he knows what he's doing, But actually, from just a professional or marketing standpoint, that was just not good, because I already had name recognition. His thinking was, making the transition from little kid to adult sometimes is difficult, and sometimes fans that think of you as a little kid can't make that transition. But it's kind of silly to
squelch name recognition that you already have built up. And so it's like starting from ground zero as a whole new person. And, you know, I had some success, but I think it would have been better, and I would have liked it better to keep my real name. But Jamie Horton was the name picked because my mother's maiden name is Horton.
Wow. Well, that whole name-changing thing, that happened a lot. A lot of artists did that. And like you said, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. You wound up doing something that a lot of artists of the day did, and that is you wound up writing commercial jingles, and you had an advertising firm.
Yeah. I guess I just couldn't get away from music. Even if I tried, I got a teaching credential because my husband was a teacher, and we thought that kind of would be logical. Yeah, we'd have the same hours, the summers off. It made sense on paper. But I am not cut out to be a teacher, and I just, found that out after teaching for a short time, and so I started getting into advertising and writing jingles, and that was a very successful little career that lasted a few years.
Well, is there any of the jingles that we might recognize that you wrote?
Well, probably not, because most of the jingles that I wrote were for the local, businesses, haircut store, boot world, and various shopping centers and places like that. Second Soul shoes. I don't know. There were a lot of them. I really enjoyed writing jingles.
Oh, they're fun.
And then I ended up being a media buyer and doing the whole advertising agency thing, which was fun.
Now, I have to ask you, Gayla, you don't have to give me details, but I really, really hope that your agent back in the 50s did a good job and that you still get royalties off of I Want a Hippopotamus, because that song is in everything.
I know. I didn't know how big it was, frankly, because I wasn't getting anything at all for all those years. But I don't know. I guess it was satellite radio, the internet. I'm not sure, but I would say about 15 years ago, the song was totally rediscovered, and it has just gotten more popular every year. And, I started getting calls from all over the world for interviews, Australia, Ireland, England, Canada, just every Christmas. And so I knew something had changed. And and then I started seeing all this merchandise out in stores with me singing. Hallmark greeting cards. You open it up and it's me singing, and balls that you bounce and it sings, and toys, plush toys. And my daughter said, "You know what? You should be getting something.
You should, yes.
Using your voice." And she kind of looked into it, and turns out that we kind of, explored it a little bit, and now I do get some royalties for sales of the actual recording. Not the writer would get songs on performance. It's like if it was covered by another artist. I don't get anything on that, but if it's my voice, and it mostly purchases on iTunes, that kind of thing.
Well, I
do. It's really fun.
Well, that's great. I have to play devil's advocate, because while your song was so great, you gave a lot of trouble to a lot of dads, because there's a lot of kids, including my daughter, that she really wanted a hippopotamus.
It was logical to me when I was a kid. I was like, yeah.
And people hear that song, they just think you can. And if you don't have a big enough bathtub, forget it. I mean, it's not going to work. But you did one song I want to mention when you appeared on a Dick Clark show, and it was a song about a teenage crush you had on a Marine soldier.
Yeah, that's one of the songs that I sang as Jamie Horton that made a fairly good-sized hit. It charted on, in Billboard. And I wrote that song, and I actually wrote it about a Marine that I had a crush on. So it was from the heart. It was called My Little Marine.
Yeah. And I guess they wound up sending a copy of the record to a lot of the boys over in Okinawa, so I'm sure that cheered them up.
Probably. In fact, the original song I wrote, I had Okinawa in the song, and you know, the powers that be in the publishing world said, "Oh, you shouldn't. You know, we should change that and just say far across the sea." But originally, I had Okinawa in it because my little crush Marine that I had a crush on was shipped out to Okinawa. But it's hard to rhyme that, you know.
It certainly is. You know, as a kid, you pretty much have advisors and you have your manager and your parents and everybody. Other than the fact that you didn't like the fact that your name was changed, was there anything else that you weren't really fond that they were doing with you in your career, or were you basically happy about it?
The songs, except for the Hippo song, the very first song, I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas, because that song made such a hit, every song they brought to me after that was an animal song.
Oh.
And as you can tell, I had kind of a belting, mature voice.
Yes.
And when I was singing in Oklahoma and on television, I sang adult songs. I mean, you know, Torchy songs, Rosemary Clooney songs, K-Star type songs, country songs. I never sang kiddie songs, but that's because I was a kid and the first song was about a hippo. All the songs after that were, you know, goofy, three little bunnies in the pet shop and just, you know, Kitty in the basket. They were really not songs you could sink your teeth into, if you know what I mean.
Definitely. You're definitely on the right show, because before you, we had somebody from the Royal Guardsmen that did all the Snoopy songs, and they were really tired of singing about Snoopy.
I know, they kind of slot you into a category, and then it's hard to get out of it, but, you know, as a kid, I didn't feel like I could speak up, and my parents really didn't, because, as I said, they weren't savvy people as far as show business, so whatever they gave to me, that's what I sang. But, oh gosh, now young kids and entertainers are so much smarter and take such control of their own career and song choices. I take my hat off to, you know, the young artists today. They just aren't as, you know, just blah, I guess you could say, as far as, you know, their career. They get involved, and I think that's great.
Well, we're definitely big fans of Dick Clark, and especially my daughter here, because she got to be a cast member of a TV show that recreated American Bandstand called American Dreams. I'm sure she'd like to know, and I'm asking for her, but I'm sure she would, you know, if she would remember to ask you, that is, what was it like with American Bandstand and Dick Clark, because he was such a great guy.
Well, as great as he seemed on television, he was just like that in person. Friendly, I mean, just, you know, just all smiles. He was so gracious and kind and welcoming. I can't say enough about what a nice person he was. He was everything he appeared to be. That was so genuine.
That's great. So what about acting? I mean, you did all the variety shows and TV appearances. Singing, did you ever get into acting?
You know what? I really never did. I did some skits on the Hoagie Carmichael show. Didn't involve really that much acting, but you know how they do those little, where you have a script, and as a kid, you know, I would just do these little scenes with Hoagie Carmichael. And the very first show, Hoagie and Dean Martin were sitting at the piano, and I crawled under the piano like a little, you know, spy, and was kind of, I don't even remember what the scene was about, but I remember that Dean Martin was in it, and oh, there were so many big stars. And do you know, I never took one picture. Can you imagine?
Oh, no.
I know, I was a, you know, Jimmy Durante and Groucho Marx and Martha Ray, and just all these big stars, George Gobel. Not one picture. My parents just weren't thinking, you know, like, oh, we should snap a few pictures of this, and boy, that's a regret that I have.
I mean, it's exciting for us to talk to people that worked with these great people. We respect all of them, but to be you, to know that you were on stage with them, wow, I mean, you sit back and think, man, that was cool.
It was, and I wish so much I had at least some pictures, and of course they didn't kinescope all the television shows back then. I hate to say it was before video even existed, and so they kinescoped certain shows, but they didn't kinescope the Hoagie Carmichael show. So I think they did a few little, pieces here and there. I don't know. I can't track down anything, but I can remember it. But it's too bad that I can't show my grandkids.
Right. Where were you able to? Because the clip that I saw on your website of your performance on Ed Sullivan's show, of which for our listeners, her website is iwantahippopotamusforchristmas.net. Where were you able to uncover that clip? Because that was even longer than any clip I had ever seen of you performing on the Ed Sullivan show.
I was so shocked that I tracked that down. There's a company in L.A. that has all of the Ed Sullivan show footage, and I just somehow I tracked them down and called them, and they were so gracious when they found out, it was me, and they just said, "Oh yes," and so I got a clip of that, and I was so happy. But I don't think I'll ever find anything from some of the other shows in that era because they just didn't videotape shows.
What about you today? Because you sound so great. Do you still perform today, and where and how? I mean, where can we see you or anybody?
Oh, gosh. I don't sing professionally anymore, but I was just at my daughter's house for Christmas, and we were singing, and I was playing some of the new songs I've written, and she's encouraging me to make a new album
yes.
of some of my songs that I've written, and you know what? I just might do that.
And I think you ought to package it for like Walmart with a little stuffed hippo.
I just might do that. I might surprise you. Next Christmas you may see something. Or maybe before that. Who knows?
I got to know because we had an opportunity a long time ago before I started doing the show of talking to the husband of the lady that did the voice of Betty Boop. And we didn't get a chance to talk to her, but we talked to the husband. And he said fans constantly send her Betty Boop dolls and Betty Boop. Did your fans send you stuffed hippopotamuses?
Oh, my goodness. I have so many hippopotamuses that, they're everywhere because people they just assume that you collect hippopotamus. They just assume that. And it's very sweet. I think it's just very, I'm very accepting of anything like that. But I've got them outside, in the garden, on the mantle, on the wall, on the front porch. There's one right now with a Santa hat on.
Well, as we kind of wrap this up, Gayla, I have to ask, I know, of course, your daughter is aware of your singing career and I Want a Hippopotamus and everything, but what do your grandkids think?
Well, they definitely know that that's me, and they all three know the song. The middle one can sing it, just belt it out as good as anybody, and they get a kick out of it. But, kids, they just see you as their grandmother.
Right.
They don't really see you in that kind of a venue. But they're aware of it. But to them, I'm just Mimi. Mimi and Papa.
Well, we have got to organize a concert. There would be her.
Yes.
There'd be Dr. Elmo.
Yes.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer, who we know. There would be the Royal Guardsmen with Snoopy's Christmas. It would be the ultimate Christmas concert. We have got
to. Let's do it. I'm all for it.
I have one favor to ask you, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, because I realize we're all a cappella. My daughter's wish is to sing at least one line about I Want a Hippopotamus with you.
Oh, I think that would be so fun. Let's do it.
I'll let you
ready?
start. I'm ready.
I want a
Hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. I don't want a doll, no dinky tinker toy. I want a hippopotamus to play with and enjoy.
I can't hear you.
Let me say this, Gayla, you still have it. Tiffany, not so much.
Not so much. She's the professional. It's fine.
They're sending the residuals to the right person. Well, I hope you and your husband and your children and grandchildren all have a wonderful New Year, because it's such an honor to have you here. It really is.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I wish you a very happy New Year.
Absolutely, and keep in touch with us, Gayla. When you get that new CD out, we want to have you come back on.
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
No, we want to have you come in studio. We want to have you come in studio.
You're on.
Okay.
Perfect. And the website, once again, remind everybody.
Once again, make sure to visit Gayla's website at iwantahippopotamusforchristmas.net. And Gayla, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have the happiest of New Year's.
Thank you so much, and goodbye.